We found no testing measures have been put in place since Congress made it law 22 years ago. Not in this country and not with produce imported from other countries. We did some testing of our own.
Apples, bell peppers.
Organics have grown
Carrots, pears.
into a multi-billion-dollar industry.
I feel like it's a better health option.
Even with no studies to back that up.
I think they taste more fresh.
People are willing to pay 20 to 30% more for organic.
I'd rather be safe anyway and just put something that doesn't have pesticides in my body.
By definition, organic does not mean chemical-free.
Will Sumner has been a chemist for more than 35 years.
It just means that they're grown without the use of synthetic pesticides and fertilizers.
He tests produce for the government.
Now, that doesn't mean that they're not toxic.
So is the more expensive organic food we buy safer than conventionally grown? Congress tried to ensure safety when it passed the Organic Foods Production Act of 1990. It requires the U.S. Department of Agriculture test organic produce and oversee third-party certifiers all around the world. But for 22 years now, that mandated routine testing has not happened. The Inspector General did this audit in 2010. That's when the USDA found out his agency had never set up any testing procedures as required by law. The 7 Action News investigators joined with 10 of our sister stations across the country, going to various stores and focusing on imported organic produce. We bought a wide variety, each station buying different products. Here in Detroit, we bought raspberries, cantaloupe, and grape tomatoes. Each sample from across the country was then shipped overnight to the same certified lab in California. In all, the lab tested 33 different types of imported organic produce for us. Our results, 12% had pesticide residues, and an additional 10% had trace amounts. So where do the chemicals come from on the produce? Well, Sumner says some farmers use chemicals when they're not supposed to, but more often contamination comes from the soil where toxic chemicals like DDT were used decades ago. There's also cross-contamination.
There's a lot of different compounds out there, and these are all drifting in different directions.
All of our organic produce that tested positive for residues came from Mexico. Mini pumpkins, yellow squash, and tomatoes had small amounts of pesticides and would be allowed for sale by the USDA. The fresh basil had a fungicide, which Sumner said wasn't legal for organics, and the FDA would make all retailers pull that product from shelves. That testing is supposed to start this year, but it hasn't begun yet. By the way, that basil we bought was from Trader Joe's. Its packing number is 132789. Check your shelves because that really needs to be thrown out. We've got that information for you on our website, WXYZ.com. We'll also let you know when that testing begins. Now, in the meantime, there are far less pesticides on organics, but new untested, natural, or biopesticides are hitting the market every day. Simply washing your food can remove about 50% of residues. I'm Joanne Purton, 7 Action News.